everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Carrie with Pins and Books, and today I'm just doing a quick little info on two new challenges that I will be doing today. Oh, hold on here. Two new challenges that will be added to our monthly TBRs, which you will see in the upcoming one for July. The first one is, they're both actually the same challenge, but one is last year's, one is this year's, and technically you can start them whenever, so I'm starting them at the same time on July 7th. July 7th, we'll be starting the Herkyed, or the Hardest Reading Challenge You'll Ever Do 2.0, but I never did 1.0. And I'm the crazy person who wants to do both at the same time. Yes, I am insane. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the trackers as well as the Canva stuff that I have borrowed or I've grabbed from another booktuber. I'll post a link to her content down below, as well as the info about Herkyed 1.0 and 2.0 down below from QWERTY. Therefore, that way you can join the Discord if you have any questions, etc., etc., and if you want to do the challenge too. Alright, so first things first, we have our Herkyed 1.0 tracker. This is a tracker that I believe that QWERTY made that I've kind of modified for myself. It has your basics, your title, your author, sorry I hit my mic there, your month read, pages, hours, rating, things like that, main genre, subgenre. Now this is going to be where it differs from my personal tracker, which I know you guys have never really seen. It's going to be is this a BIPOC author, which some of the authors I've actually learned recently that I've read are, and I'm actually really excited because that's going to be part of the Herkyed challenge. Is it an indie book? What year was it published? Which I also keep track of. The intended audience, middle grade, young adult. Which would you read it as? Paperback, hardback, audiobook, ebook. Format, novel, novella, comic, webcomic. Is it part of a series? What number in the series is it? Your series status. So, for example, the Song of Ice and Fire series, it's still in progress, but it's completed up to publication. So this is the one I would put for that. What setting does it take place in? Is it the country? If it's in the U.S., what state is it in? And I'll show you how those kind of go in there. Actually, what publisher did they use? The author status, are it new? Is it a debut? Read before? Date started? Finished? Is there a queer representation? Is there disability representation? And then if author's ethnicity and author nationality, which I kind of track as well, not too much though, and then total points earned. So let me toss in a book in here real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so I currently put in, alright guys, so I put in the book that I'm currently reading. I anticipate being done today, which is why I have the day finished on there, which is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I'm actually, like I said, I'm currently reading it. I'm under 100 pages, so I am finishing it today. I refuse to go to sleep until it's done. But this is how it would look like, just information about the author, about the book, so this is the Roots of Chaos series number. Technically, it is a standalone prequel to the Roots of Chaos series, but the series is in progress. It doesn't have a setting in the world that it would work with us, so that I left blank. Author nationality was, she is actually, I believe it said she was from the UK. Her ethnicity, I believe it said that she has an Irish background. I might actually take this one out, to be honest, but I'm not sure. For now, I will leave it in. Queer representation, we have multiple. We have a main character who is a lesbian, and we have a main character who is bi. So it would work with either of those. And then disability representation, I don't recall seeing any. I know that there is one that they mentioned that her fingertips were cut off due to a version that they have of frostbite, but I'm not sure that would fully count as a disability because she does still have full use of her hands except for the fingertips. But, that would be... I'm going to put it as main disabled because... Actually, no. I'm going to keep it as none because I don't think that would be counted as a disability. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But I don't believe it would count as a disability. but it's a hardcover. It's a novel, adult audience, what year it was published. Samantha Shannon is not a BIPOC author, and this book is not indie, so neither of these are checked off. So right here where it says points, these are right here we have the book buying points. And so basically you get free points for reading a book. It doesn't matter if it counts towards the actual challenge, but you get free points for reading it. For example, A Day of Fallen Night is a book, so therefore you get a point. Is it completing a monthly TBR? Yes or no? And all these books, so you have total books earned. This will come together to eventually total however many books you're allowed to buy at certain times. That's essentially how that goes. Right here we have the reading status. This is why I put in the information about the book. That way you guys could see this. Right here it has Herkiad 1.0 total books read. Obviously I haven't started it yet, so I'm not putting that in there yet, but normally a 1 I guess would go there. Because I'll finish this. How many books, total pages read, total hours listened, average rating. Again, I just tossed in a random rating. I don't know what I'm rating this book yet. Monthly totals. This is going to be, of course, where we see our graph for that. This one, I don't know what this is. I want to say... Okay, so this is our main genre. I am going to... So I tossed that in there so that way I remember. Main genre, subgenre, publication year. Again, I only have one book, but as we go, these will change, and I'll show you every month as I end the month how they're changing. Audience, intended audience, the format, audience. Why are you in here twice? I don't know. I'm going to get rid of one of those. Series, publisher, author, type, queer representation, disability representation. And then here is where if this book took place in Canada, Canada would be lit up. If it took place in California, the US would be lit up, and then over here, California would be lit up. And I think that's really cool. I love these maps. Next is going to be our bingo board. So I'm going to have 2 bingo boards kind of running side by side. You will only see one because the board itself isn't going to do too much, but it's the individual challenges also have a Canva thing. Again, I'll post a link to the person who created these. I believe her name is Freshly Book Reads or something like that. I can't remember her YouTube name. But the one that you guys will be seeing I'll be doing pins and books instead of my full actual name. Let me go over these challenges real quick so that way you guys can understand what I'm saying. So first off, we have 500-page book in a day. Whenever you watch my monthly TBR, you'll notice that this is gonna kill me, I think. Then we have an A to Z challenge. So these darker ones right here, the queer rep, the A to Z challenge, spell your name, new monthly releases, the genre challenge, and the rainbow challenge. Books that go into those can go into all of those plus one of the white challenges, or these beige challenges. Books that could only go into, so like if I read a 500-page book in a day, it also qualifies for the A to Z. If it has a queer representation, it goes into the rainbow. If it goes with a spell my name, new release, genre, and just the regular rainbow, I can do all of those at once. But I cannot do, say, the 500 book page in a day plus one of the blurbed books, if that makes sense to you guys. It does make sense, I promise. So, but yeah, a 500-page book in a day. The A to Z challenge. Blurbed books. I have to read 4. So what the blurbed books is, so 500-page in a day is self-explanatory. A to Z, also self-explanatory. Some letter in there. So like A Day of Fallen Night could go for A, D, O, F, N, or S, because A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. Blurbed books, this is going to be, you're going to find a book that has a blurb, and then the 3 blurbs, has to have at least 3 blurbs from other authors, and you have to read a book from those authors as well as the book that was blurbed. So like A Day of Fallen Night, if they had one from Holly Black, Suzanne Collins, and Laurel K. Hamilton, I'd have to read books from those authors as well as, of course, A Day of Fallen Night. Garage sale books. So I'll have to go to the garage sales or thrift stores. Garage sales were preferred, and buy 3 new books and read them. I do not, with all my medical stuff going on, I do not have the funds to go and do that. But I do have books from thrift stores that I have bought that I will be using instead. I just have to be cautious with the money that I spend because I have surgery coming up in a couple months. Or in a few months. I don't know when it is yet. It hasn't been scheduled yet. But I have surgery coming up, and I can't just be spending money on books as I would like to. AuthorTuber books. This one will be another one that is difficult for me because, again, we're back to the whole I don't have money for surgery. Or I need to raise money for surgery. I don't have money for books because of it. I'm going to maybe reach out to some AuthorTubers, see if they would be willing to loan me one of their books due to that situation, due to me doing her kid. Or maybe go into the Discord and be like, hey, I don't have the money to do this. I need help. And hopefully maybe we can see what we can do. Full book series. This is a book series. You have to start and end within the year of the challenge. So I don't think I mentioned that. This challenge is not a month. It is 1 year. And so from July 7th, 2025 to July 6th, 2026, I'll be doing both these challenges. So I'll have a full year to start and end one series. And then, of course, that's why there's still a question mark right here, because I don't know what series I'm starting yet. Small booktuber recommendations. This is booktubers who have, I believe it was less than 5,000 subscribers, and get a recommendation from each of them. So if I'm lucky, I will have a book already here. If I'm not lucky, then that's very sad. But we will see. 5 different countries. Again, that's probably what this particular status is for. I'm actually kind of excited about that because I don't read a lot from other countries unless they're fantasy countries, and that doesn't qualify, I don't believe. 5 books set or written by authors from 5 different countries, excluding the US, the UK, and Canada. So it'd have to be Africa, Korea, or South Africa, Korea, and New Zealand, for example. You know, those would count, but the US, the UK, and Canada would not, which is kind of sad, but a lot of authors are really based off there, and those are I think a lot of the popular ones. Queer Rainbow, I will show you a thing for that one, but that's kind of self-explanatory. Lowest rating. I have to read the 5 books with the lowest rating on my TBR, which is going to suck. But it is what it is, you know. Again, this is going to vary on whether or not what I can get my hands on. So I will be adjusting that as needed for that purpose. Indie book from the author. So you actually have to go to the author's websites, anywhere from, but Amazon, I believe, she said, that Cordy said. So I have to go to the author's website and buy the book from his or her website. And there you go. One is a local author. I do have a bookstore, an indie bookstore that actually has a local author's area, so hopefully I can find something. Spell your name is, again, self-explanatory. So you have to spell your name with the books. For the purpose of YouTube, I will be using Pins and Books instead of my full name because I do not want my full name out in the world. You have to read 5 SPFBO non-finalists. I have never heard of this until now, so I'm going to be until I started looked into the challenge, so I will be looking into it a little bit more. But you have to read 5. It's like the Goodreads challenge, but you have to read 5 non-finalists. So basically, entrants. I don't know how to pronounce that word properly. You have to read 1 webcomic to completion, or at least up to where it is in the publication. 12 new release monthly. This is also going to be difficult, but luckily I have NetGalley. A birth year bestseller, so I have to go back to what was available in my birth year and look at the bestseller. A 24-hour challenge, you have to read a minimum of 3 books. Self-explanatory. Book and recipes. So for that, we have to find a book that has is based on food, has a recipe in it, make that recipe, you complete that one. A 8 genre challenge. Eight genre challenge. This is going to be specific genres. You have to have one for each one of them. Kickstarter, a book that was on a Kickstarter doesn't have. I don't believe it has to be on a Kickstarter now. It just had to have a Kickstarter at one point. Rainbow challenge, again, self-explanatory. Classic and adaptation. So, example, if you read Romeo and Juliet, and then you have to read an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. Protagonist names you know. So these could be someone that you met on the street saying, "Hi, my name is Sam, and I can go find a book with a guy named Sam in it, or a girl named Sam in it." But they have to be people that you have met, however briefly. Seasonal books. These are books that have to be read based in the season that you are currently in. So, for example, summer will be the first one that I do. Either summer or fall. Depends on how everything goes. But summer or fall will be the first one that I do. And then I have to read it in that time frame. Alright, so these are the individual challenges. This one is for the alphabet reading challenge. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. For example, A Day of Fallen Night, I could put right here for F. This one is for your new releases. So, for example, since I'm starting in July, I have to read a book that is coming out in July this year. Due to my current finances being as restrained as they are about to be, or as strained as they need to be, I might extend that. I'm actually going to see if it's okay if I can extend that too, so long as it was published within maybe the last 5 years or so, or maybe within the last year, and I have to read it on the month that it came out. But we'll see. We'll see. We never know. All right, so this is the full name challenge. Obviously here, again, it's pens and books. So I have to find something that covers each of them. And it cannot be the same one, so I cannot use A Day of Fallen Night here and here. I can only use it for one. This is the genre challenge. So we have to have a fantasy, sci-fi, mystery or thriller, horror. I can hardly say this, I swear. Historical fiction, romance, nonfiction, and a literary fiction. Here is our book blurb. So here we will post a picture of the original book, for example, A Day of Fallen Night, title, and then what the blurb was, who the author was, and then the book that corresponds with each. This is our diversity flag. So we have lesbian, gay, bi or pan, trans, questioning, intersex, and asexual. It's not that difficult to understand, kind of like everything about it. It is, you just have to read one, and these have to be your main characters. It cannot be just a side character they mention for 5 minutes and they're gone. These have to be your main characters. And last but not least, we have our rainbow challenge. As you can see, I just have to find a cover with each of those. Alrighty, so this tracker is for Herkia 2.0, and this was created by someone on Q's Discord. I don't know her name personally, so I apologize. So here I am. I've just entered in, again, the same book because it's literally sitting next to me and I'm about to finish it. But I will be taking it off because it will not count for the challenge. Day of Fallen Night. As you can see, this has info here for which prompts it's going into. The genres are a little different. Format is also a little different. Means read different. I think it's maybe some extra publishers. But again, I have updated this to what I want to track, and what I don't want to track is I've taken off. We have a new points calculator, so this will be literally, you just go through, click which one it's in, and then it just tallies up your points here. These points are going to tell me whether or not I can use a reread, a DNF, I can triple up on a prompt, or I can I can short a prompt from the game. Yes. So as you can see right here, there are rules for it. So say, for example, if I put it there, I put redemption value of, say, 50 points, prompt used, and then what the prompt is used for. But then I would come up here and say I used that. Now, as you can see, I'm going negative because I didn't have the points for it. So here, again, is another tracker. Same thing. It's doing the prompts. If it's in the on Earth, here's where that is. If it's in the country, here's where that is. Averages and totals, publisher. So again, just everything there. Here is our bingo board. So the bingo board is actually included in the thing. So we have by the hundreds. So this is it's like 100 to 199. You put the book in here. So that's pretty self-explanatory. For example, I would do please forgive my horrible typing, but that's essentially where Day of Fallen Night would go. 24-hour readathon is a little different. You just complete as many books as you can in 24 hours. So your start time, midnight, end time. The minute you go to sleep, it's gone. When you did it, you check it off, you go back to your bingo board, and oh, you're not working with me. I will have to mess with that. I think that they mentioned that one of them wasn't working, and I think that's it. But once you check it off, it should turn out that color. The whole point of both these challenges is to black out the thing. Subgenres of choice. So we go here, mostly what I read is fantasy, and then we pick a thing here for fantasy, and then we insert the book here. Again, self-explanatory. Series staircase, I feel like this is also self-explanatory. So we have a standalone here, and then a duology, trilogy, and 4 more that I have to start and finish within this challenge. Now, for example, I have Stormfront coming up, which is the Dresden Files books. I have, at minimum, I have over 9 books to go that will be completely new to me. All of these could count for this. So, something to be aware of, because it will take me 10 months to go through all of those. Award season. So here are some competitions to consider to be able to use these. You can go down and pick different ones for this. I believe they all have to be within the same year. I'm not sure. But you have to do, winners. You have to do the finalists, semifinalists, and an entrant. It does not have to be 2 winners. It doesn't have to do that. TBR Game Challenge. I'm already starting this one with the TBR Changer. I called it a TBR Game Changer. But I actually need to fill this out. And then when that's done, we'll click it off, say it's done. The last 10 years, I'm going to challenge myself a little bit and do all of these, but the last 10 years, so basically a book that's been published within these years. So Day of Fallen Night would go here. I would come up here, do 2023, and then put Day of Fallen Night's picture. Adaptations. This is a way to kind of take a break from the reading that she's doing, unless you want to read the source material or whatnot. So you have to have a modern retelling. So again, Romeo and Juliet source material, and then a modern retelling of that. A musical, graphic novel, play, TV show. So like if you haven't seen one of the Marvel movies, you can put the graphic novel here for a Marvel movie, and then put the movie here that you've seen. A play, a TV show, web series, animation, and then a movie. I am weird. I like reading the source material and then watching whatever it is, so there you go. The disability challenge. You have to do 5 different disabilities. So for example, I have a book where the character has a club foot. I would type in club foot, and then that picture for that book would go here, and then the next one could not be a club foot. I cannot use a club foot again. But we could do ADHD, we could do depression, could do cerebral palsy. Anything that it counts as a disability goes here. Heritage months, we don't have to read these in the heritage months, but we can. So the first one being Disability Pride, that's coming up in July. Excuse me. So we'll see if I can find something. I have a pretty extensive TBR this month. I have like 26 books on this TBR. One's about to be finished, but I still have like 26 books on this TBR. It is crazy this month. So we will see what I can do for Disability Pride. I'm not going to focus solely on it though, if that makes sense. But because you have all year to do these. You don't have to read these in the month that they're done. Translation challenge. Apparently one of the books, actually I think 2 of the books I'm reading this month could actually go into here and do this translation challenge. So basically for example, A Diary of a Young Girl, which I'm getting, is originally in German and translated to English. And then picture goes here, and then like Count of Monte Cristo goes there. I mean, so that's essentially what that is. Around the world, you have to go around the world and read something from each different continent with a bonus of Antarctica. So for example, if I had managed to read Where'd You Go, Bernadette, which I unfortunately did not, it would go here under bonus Antarctica. But I am keeping that in mind because it is bonus points, which are like 5 points. The even bigger rainbow. So anything, again, it just has to cover each color, and then 7+ colors, like so for like A Day of Fallen Night, with as colorful as it is, has over 7 colors, or 7 or more colors, and so it would go here. Make a quote. This is a quote that I picked because I really love this quote. But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. So, for example, A Day of Fallen Night cannot fit in this. No. But this quote was by Dumbledore from one of J.K. Rowling's books. I know that Q has said she doesn't want a lot of Rowling's, like a Harry Potter books, being included in this. I had picked this quote prior to her knowing that. And I really like this quote. I feel like it's very relevant to just the last few years. And it kind of just gives hope to the darkness ending and the light. You know, just have to remember to turn on the light, you know, that sort of deal. I don't know. I love this quote. I think it is a very impactful quote. So therefore, that's why I chose it. Spooky creatures, pretty self-explanatory. Vampire, shifter, doesn't matter what shifter it is. A magic user, fae, spirit, merfolk. It doesn't have to be a mermaid. It could be whatever. Zombie, and then another creature. For example, a minotaur. Become the avatar has to have either cover image or word in title of that element. If you do both, you get bonus points. Readathon even comes with some readathon stuff here. I haven't decided on a readathon yet, so that's just animal friends, house pets, exotic pets. So house pets, cats, dogs, birds. Exotic pets is going to be your lizards, fish. I believe fish. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. But your lizards, things like that. Farm animals, anything that can be found on a farm. Pretty self-explanatory. If your book, and yes, this was covered in the live stream that I watched. If your book has a minotaur farm, it counts. Saying. Wild animals, anything that can be found in the wild in your area. For example, deer, coyotes, wolves, those can be found in the area that I live in, or at least deer can. I don't know about the other two. Foxes, they can all be found in the area. And then as zoo animals, anything that you can only see in a zoo. Lions, tigers, giraffe. I didn't want to say bears because some people have bears in their backyard. I do not, but some people do. This is our even bigger queer rainbow. She added polyamory, non-binary, and agender, and then the gender fluid and two-spirit. Both of these queer alphabets are going to be a little difficult for me because I don't normally go looking for these books. If I'm a book, oh, you happen to be gay. Cool. Next, we're going to keep on reading because I'm liking the book. I don't normally look for them in particular, but I will be looking. I will be looking this time. Favorite Herkiad 1 prompt. I can literally just toss anything up here, and there you go. BIPOC authors, so you have to write the representation, and then they put the picture in the box. For example, Slave to Sensation by Nalani Singh, which is one of my books for next month. She counts as a BIPOC author, which I was really excited to hear. So I didn't know that. I learned something new about one of my favorite authors. So for example, I would go right here and I would write, she was born in Fiji. She says she's Indian and Fijian. I think that's how you say that? Or Fujian. I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to try. And I would put the book that corresponds with her. And I actually have 2 books from her this month. New releases, these can be done within 60 days, I believe she said. So, for example, I'm starting in July. I could do August, July, or June. So you get 2 months to do these instead of just 1 month, which makes it very easy. As you can see, I've kind of already decided one that I'm going to be reading next month, and that is The Last Empress of France. And that will be coming out in July. Challenge yourself. This is my challenge to myself, is to read more classics. You don't have to do this challenge. It's just a challenge for myself. I'm only doing 5 books, so this is way too many. Or I have to double check. I think I can pick how many books. Either way, I just want to read more classics. That's all. Nonfiction challenge. You can see here I have, Alright, so these are my books for my nonfiction challenge, which I will be doing this. I'll be attempting first. This is the first challenge that I am actively working on first. Harry Potter Film Wizardry. Since it's not J.K. Rowling, I'm pretty sure it'll be okay for the challenge. It's in movie reference. Astronomy, which is science. The Last Empress of France is a nonfiction book, and it will be history, French history. The Writer's Compass, which is a writing reference, and then A Diary of a Young Girl, which is an autobiography. Q's recommendations. So she has playlists to all of her recommendations, and then you come down here for the mini review. So you come down here, you click on this, go to the link for the mini review, and then you say it's worse, it's even better, or you fully agree with what Q says. Q is the creator of Herkyd. So yeah, that is Herkyd 1.0 and 2.0 in a nutshell. Some simple rules that need to be followed is it cannot be a reread. Any books that you start prior to this count for points, so long as you're reading within the challenge time frame, but it will not count for the prompts. So for example, A Day of Fallen Night will not count for the prompt, not only because I've already started reading it before the challenge, but it could count for points, but or a better example, Stormfront. If I read Stormfront for over 7 days, because I'm going to start it on the 1st, Stormfront will not count because the Stormfront is a reread. It will count for points should I still be reading it on the 7th, but it will not count for any prompts, if that makes sense. Which is kind of unfortunate, considering Storm, it would have covered my water. I would have gotten that taken care of. By the way, let's see, what else am I forgetting? Alright, so for the rules, at least for the 2.0, some of these rules are going to overlay with each other. So for the 2.0, each book you read will earn you a certain number of points in order to do things like DNF, reread, etc. The points for 1.0 are literally just, do you get to buy a book? Simple rules, rereads are not allowed. DNFs are not allowed. You can only, with 2.0, again, you can only use 2 prompts. With 1.0, you can do multiples of the shaded prompts, but not the white prompts. Alright, so essentially, don't reread, no DNFs. So anything that was prior to Herkyd, July 7th, does not count. So A Princess in Theory will not count. Ebonwild will not count. Stormfront, A Day of Fallen Night, Eye of the World, none of those will count because they all started prior to July 7th. The ones that will count after July 7th, A Slave to Sensation, Archangel's Legion, A Diary of a Young Girl, The Last Empress of France, those all count towards prompts and points. But the others would only, the rereads would only count for points, if that makes sense. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Don't forget to tune in every month because I will be doing a wrap-up. Every time I finish a challenge, I will be rolling for a new challenge to focus on. That does not mean I'm going to be ignoring the other challenges. That just means I'm going to solely focus on, for example, the nonfiction challenge or the Read a 500 book in 1 day challenge. While those will cover those could cover multiple prompts, I will be solely focusing on that particular challenge for that, either 1.0 or 2.0. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Keep reading. Bye.